Okay, rightio. We're going to do some stuff to the car. We've got a few things to get out the way since before we do the next episode. So I figured I'd let you all see what's going on. Shane's here.
Howdy.
Shane is going to be the cameraman, and I'll probably give him some crap because I need someone to take my crap, and Shane does it best. So handing you over to Shane now.
Mwah.
And I mean, I'm seeing heaps of comments come through already. I can't read them all. I promise this is not just another thing of me sitting at the computer for 30 seconds, minutes, whatever it was that guy said. Get a life. I'm going to build my car. Right, engine mounts. Because the next thing I want to do, which you'll see in the next episode, this bar is kind of in the way, and I've had these billet engine mounts built for ages now from the last episode. So I really got to stick them in there. And we didn't get a chance to stick them in episode 7 because the holes weren't drilled yet, so we can't mount them. So it gives us something to do, gives us a chance to have a chat and whatever. I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to let Shane have a look at those comments and see if there's anything interesting to talk about while I'm doing this. But I just got to kind of jack this engine up higher to make this happen. Yeah. What's going on?
Oh, well, Echo says, hello, Daddy, and hello, Uncle Shane. So that must be Hunter.
I think that might be my son. Yeah. My wife doesn't usually say hello, Daddy. Maybe she should.
Maybe you should, yeah.
I might put a poll up after this whether my wife should say...
I think you're going to get into trouble. Keep jacking away there.
Okay, keep jacking away, because that jacking away is not going to get me in trouble.
No, that's right. But you should learn how to do this for yourself.
How high does this need to go? More importantly, how high can this go before it starts crushing the tunnel? Who built this anyway? But
So someone has an issue with the connection quality. Today's episode brought to you by Tony Abbott. Connection brought to you by Tony Abbott.
But our stream looks all right, isn't it?
Our stream looks great.
So it's that guy's fault?
Yeah.
Or maybe that guy's ISP?
Yes.
Somewhere between that guy and that guy's ISP.
He's probably on a crappy NBN connection.
Oh yeah, see, we actually got off NBN to do this transmission because 4G seems to be heaps better than NBN. Well done. That was an Abbott thing as well, wasn't it? Who ruined NBN?
Abbott? Yeah, someone, I don't know.
One of those guys.
Yeah.
Well,
someone who was more concerned about money than having a decent internet connection.
Who'd be concerned about money? Do you want to come around and give the guys a bit of a look at what we're doing?
I can do just
that. I'll get a magic torch because the 17 lights I've set up here is not enough illumination. Oh, that one, there we go. How's that torch work? Does that like... Oh no, there's a hint in there. Look, you can see a little bit about what episode the next one is going to be about because you can see this billet stainless freaking, not really billet, CNC machined stainless exhaust manifold flange there. That gives you a pretty solid hint about what we're doing next. It's not a secret because I've actually been putting updates of like the design and manufacture of that flange on our Facebook page to give people a bit of a sneak peek as to what we're doing. So it's probably a good time to say if you want to see the funny stuff we're doing between episodes, jump on the Facebook page and our Instagram as well. I always put it on Instagram. And you can see some of the stuff before it actually happens. So what's coming through, Shane?
I just had a good comment. I don't feel like this build is complicated enough and you should make it all-wheel drive.
Yeah, but I mean, then you can't do like fishtails down the road and...
No, but look, I think Douglas here has a very good point.
Douglas.
Helis might be more fun.
With all-wheel drive?
With all-wheel drive?
Yeah, all-wheel drive reverse helis are the best.
Oh, there you go. You obviously know what you're talking about.
I saw that happen. There was a fella. Some of you watching this will probably know the name Damien Chandler. He was a serial troublemaker on cruises back in the day, and he had a Laser TX3 turbo all-wheel drive thing.
Oh, monster.
Put that thing in a train station car park, you know, with the gravel everywhere, and it's just like select reverse, full lock, bang on the accelerator all the way to the ground, and just keep going until something stopped working. And probably his brain, because the G-forces of doing that for long enough would have pushed all the blood to the wrong places. But yeah, quite a sight to behold. Probably the only time I've seen a turbo glow so bright, I'm pretty sure I could see the turbine through the housing. But
Nice.
that guy was thoroughly entertaining. He probably still is. Haven't seen him for many, many years. So there's old Plastic Fantastic. It's so light. But
Tasty.
for those of you that haven't watched our videos, shame on you. And there it is. We go from stock, rubbish, and then I boringly sat on a computer for 30 minutes. Sorry about that. And made a plastic one, which was more better. You can see how different the engine location is. It like shifts it like 2 inches that way and 2 inches that way and whatever. And then old Billet. So I've never even tried fitting this up to the engine. I think I made sure that the mount goes on it, like that's the mount itself. Let's drag it out of here. I really should have tested this before we did the live stream. Look at that. It fits. It fits. It locates. It's got that little locating pin and stuff. Ding, 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 just like a real one from the shops. Wait, I am the shops.
You are the shops.
Oh, just like a real one from here. I think it should be as easy as we'll bust this in, we'll put some bolts in it, and then we'll let the engine sit on its own, like, on its own mounts for the first time in ever.
So, Jose wants to know if that Supra is Targa or hardtop.
Hardtop! In Japan, turbos only ever came as hardtops. The Targas were all non-turbos, pretty different to the American market. So, if it's the original turbo, which this one is, 100% of them are hardtops. And you know, the hardtops are really sought after in the States, I think, because most of them were Targas, and they're like, hardtops are better, and I agree. But over here in Australia, because Targas are so rare, people get all wet over Targas, especially because Fast and Furious was a Targa one, right? So you got people buying NA Targas and then converting turbo motors into them for that Fast and Furious awesome. Personally, I think that's the quickest way to ruin a Supra. I love them as a hardtop. And, I mean, better performance, I guess. Stiffer chassis. Race car. That's what it's all about. I think this engine's actually too high now. I can't really line those bolts up nicely. These bars are like the most useful thing in the world, though. More people should have them.
You heard the man. Bar up.
Buy a bar. Oh, things are moving around. Okay. I apologise if the microphone I'm wearing is like rustling against whatever down here. But deal with it and stuff, I guess. What other nonsense are people saying, Shane?
Well, Targa tops are only a grinder away. Which, very true, very true.
That's true if you drive like a Ford Falcon or something else worthless. You don't mind putting a grinder through. AU Falcons.
As long as you keep that pretty face.
Yeah. I mean, most of the American viewers and stuff probably wouldn't even know what an AU Falcon is.
No, but they should go and look them up.
They should go and look them up.
Australian legend.
It's an Australian Ford, right? Not a real Ford. And they've become so notorious over here because they're just so bad that they've become, I don't know, I feel like they're going to be collectible one day.
I'm pretty sure they're already there. Because there'll be so few of them left by now. They're what, 20 years old? So they've mostly fallen apart.
Oh, they're mostly like rusted into insignificance, and engines have all blown head gaskets and whatever. But I'm sure we're going to get a whole bunch of comments now about, yeah, but it beat your Camry. I don't care. Granny Pants was a legend. I don't care what anybody says. Oh, these are tight. Someone actually tightened these bolts. And by someone, I mean me, because nobody else has touched this car. I guess it's pretty good that the plastic handle being tightened. I actually wanted to drop the engine onto these plastic mounts just to see if they could handle the weight of like a 200 and whatever kilo engine. But I mean, I was pretty absolutely certain they were going to crack, and then I'd scratch my sump, and I spent a lot of time having that sump made and not scratching it. So yeah, maybe bad idea. But I'm going to need a spanner. I didn't think I was going to need tools for this job.
All the preparation.
Tools. Spanner. Also, a lot of people have been commenting about the snap-on shirt I wore in the 1320 vid, because that 1320 video, that got like, between Facebook and YouTube, over 1 million views. 1 million people have looked at the shenanigans we're doing in this workshop. If you haven't watched the 1320 vid, I suggest you go and do, because like, it's actually a good quality video, unlike the stuff that we make, because it's produced by 1320. So that's one way to see what we're doing in the workshop and stuff without having to put up with our improving video style. With our long way to go editing skills. It's probably the most delicate way I can put my own work. But to all those people that complain about it, I'm like, screw you. Because it's not actually that easy. Alright, that did the trick. Yeah, so I was talking about the 1320 video. What was I saying about it? Go and watch it. Oh, Snap-on, right. So I was talking to the Snap-on guy the other day, and I'm like, sponsor me, and he's like, no. And I'm like, sponsor me, and he's like, no. But I get it, because he's just a franchise. He's got no reason to sponsor me. He's not going to get any more sales out of it. But I always wind him up about it every time he visits anyway. But I actually asked him, like, what does it take for someone, like for Snap-on, to actually sponsor something? Because they do like V8 supercars, and they do some weird TV shows and stuff. And what was interesting is that because I was wearing the Snap-on shirt, some other franchise somewhere else in the world saw it and actually posted it up on the franchise owner's sort of private Facebook group going, hey, look at this idiot working on Toyotas representing Snap-on. So now I've got to put it out there. Someone who knows a big wig at Snap-on, frickin' tell them to look up QUICKSHIFT.tv and sponsor me. Give me some tools. My God. All right.
Hey.
Number deuce.
You didn't even knock out the insert.
What? No. I got a little lazy. That's in there for life.
So, you've had a comment. Do you guys work on 3S GTEs?
Man, 3S GTEs are my bread and butter. They're my first love. They're what this business was founded on. All I did when I opened this shop was build MR2s, Celica GT4s, 3S GTEs. It's like, that was it. And then I expanded out into other things. So yes, we definitely do 3S GTEs. I'm trying to think videos. There's videos of, well, Shane's got a 3S GTE. There's videos of that on Facebook doing like 600 horsepower at the wheels. There's all sorts going around. Check out our not the QuickShift Facebook page, the WTF Auto. These, I'm not allowed to say swear words on YouTube. These unfavourable citizens. Check out these guys, WTF Auto. Yeah, you'll always see posts on that Facebook page about 3S GTEs and stuff, which are nothing to do with this show. I don't know if QuickShift will ever do a 3S GTE build, because I don't know how many people are actually into them. If you're really into that stuff, then drop comments, say, oi, do a 3S GTE build or something, and I'll tell everyone and my mum about it, and then maybe I'll do it. The other funny thing here, now that I'm bolting these mounts in, is I've actually already redesigned these mounts from the ground up. When I made these in Fusion, there was a couple of things I didn't know how to do nicely. Someone commented in the YouTube vid and said, your lofting is terrible. Why don't you learn how to use Fusion? And to which I replied, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm trying to learn how to use Fusion. I said that. But anyway, I did learn how to do better lofting. And when we went to machine these, we actually had a bit of trouble with some of the radiuses, and we had a lot of trouble with this pocket here. That pocket there, sorry. So I went back to the drawing board and completely remodeled it from the ground up, and looked up how to do better lofts and did some smoother radiuses and stuff like that. So now the new version of the mounts, they look kind of similar to this, but kind of totally different. They're lighter, they're stronger. So by the time this car runs, we'll have probably done a batch of the new version of the mounts, and we'll be pulling these out and putting the new ones in. But I mean, the dimensions are the same. The flanges are in the same spot. It's going to mount the engine in the right spot. So there's no reason not to pop these in now. Of course, the engine is going to come back out to be forged and everything anyway, at which point these mounts will probably just go in the cabinet as very expensive ornaments. No, you can't have them. Someone's going to ask. No, you can have the new ones, the new versions. I'll sell the new versions. Righto. That fits. Sort of. Where's the hole? I gotta lift up. Up. Shane, I can't find the hole.
Mate, it's in there somewhere.
Up. What's going on? I feel like it's lifting the other side of the engine, not this side. How far do I have to go before it's... Oh, there we go. Now it's coming off on this side. Yeah.
I heard the other side loosen.
Yeah. It's a little bit lopsided. Or maybe it's just off-center now.
Maybe it's loft-sided.
There we go. Threading or cross-threading. I'm doing a type of threading.
As long as it's tight.
Oh, sorry if that was really loud. I just realised I was like almost eating the microphone then. It's not my fault.
No, someone else's fault, clearly.
Yeah, clearly. Let's blame you.
Yeah, no, it's totally my fault.
Yeah, I'm good at that. So I do actually, when the video's done, I go back and read all the nasty comments that you guys write as well. So if you actually have something cool to say, or you want to tell us what you want to see, or you want to complain about our videos or whatever, drop the comment anyway, and I will go through it later, and sometimes even pop a reply after the fact, which I hope you guys see and read. One, two. Okay. All right. That is bolted in. Bolts are tight-ish. Go and do the other side. And I've got, something coming through that the Facebook stream is a little bit iffy as well. YouTube is where we want you to watch us from, to be honest, and the quality is a lot better. So if you just search for QUICKSHIFT.tv or Supra Supreme on YouTube, you will get a better quality experience.
Interesting comment from Fantasia.
That's Ray.
Fantasia Sash?
Yes, that's Ray. What do you want, Ray? How's it going, Ray? I was meant to be dynoing his limousine today, his 16,000 seater or whatever limousine with an LS1. I was meant to put that on the dyno, but I'm like, sorry, I've got other things to do. maybe next week. What is?
It's a good thing you didn't tell him, you were out tonight or something.
Oh yeah, if you like. Sorry, I've got my mum's birthday or something or other.
Or his mum's birthday.
Yeah, no lies.
Do you have any plans to upgrade the interior electronics, like LCD dashes or anything cool?
I definitely want an LCD dash, like a race one with all the cool thingies on it. I haven't really decided who does the prettiest one yet. There's a Haltech dash, Motec ones are great. M-Tron have released one, which is a rebadged AEM, I believe, but they're working on their own one as well. There's so many different choices out there. Of course, the AIM dash as well. We've used them a lot. I reckon at the moment, the Motec ones are really tempting just because they're big and stuff. But yeah, something will go in there, I think. That said, I've got like a TRD Speedo in the car and stuff, and everybody always wants those TRD Speedos. So maybe I want to keep that so other people can't have it.
Or sell it and use the money to buy an LCD dash.
I think there's something nice about having a dial that goes from 0 to 320. Or whatever it goes to. It's got 300 or 320. It goes 300 at least. I'm sure it's got at least a line after the 300 number. There's something about seeing that in a car. I remember when we were little kids, right? 5 years old, we used to run around and look in cars' windows and goes, oh, this one goes to 150, because you thought that whatever number that went to is how fast the car was.
Sales pitch.
Yeah. So it was really exciting. If you saw one that went to 300, clearly it was a Lamborghini or something. So I don't know, maybe it's childhood coming through a little bit. I like the dials that go to big numbers.
I think you should just make your own. I mean, you've made everything else.
What dash?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just make a new one.
Custom OLED screen,
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, 300 is not going to be enough. If this goes on a runway at Race Wars, we're talking 350 or something like that. So the TRD dial is actually going to be insufficient.
Yes.
You'll need an LCD dash, or maybe one of those cool speed readouts. Like when they do the Bugatti testing, when they're going really fast, they've got that little thing on the dash with the red, more like LED, because they're bright. LED numbers that just tick through the numbers, like those figure 8 displays. That'd be cool. That's like Jet Pilot stuff.
That'd be cool. Wasn't the LFA so fast on the revs that they couldn't?
Oh, that's a load of rubbish. That is the biggest marketing nonsense I've ever heard in my life. Our the engine revs so fast that we had to put a digital one in there because the needle couldn't keep up. What a load of turd.
What a great idea. Let's do that in this.
What a load of turd. That's like, you can make needles go fast. You can get stepper motors and stuff like that. They're incredibly responsive. So what they're saying is we pulled a tacho out of a Camry and it couldn't keep up with our frickin' Formula One motor revving. So we had to build an LCD one. We'll just say that we had to do it because the engine revs so fast that it couldn't keep up. What a load of idiot. Anyway, it bothers me every time I hear that because it's clearly nonsense.
I'm glad I brought it up then.
Yeah.
So there's been a couple of comments about, has the camera guy got Alzheimer's because it's shaky? Would you like to explain to people the difference between Parkinson's and Alzheimer's?
Oh my God. I think he means Parkinson's.
I think he does too. It's a bit Michael J. Fox.
Well, I find it kind of unreal that I've given Shane a phone that's got stabilization, which is sitting on a gimbal that has stabilization, and he's managing to make the picture actually vibrate. Maybe you should just put it on the table and use a tripod there, buddy. Oh. For those that don't know, Shane has the worst shakes of any human on the planet.
Professional gimbal tester.
It hasn't got worse over the years, so it's not Parkinson's, right?
It's not.
But it certainly seems like Parkinson's, like all the time.
All the time. I haven't had enough caffeine yet today.
It's like he's swallowed a vibrator that appears to have batteries that last forever.
It does. And now my arm's getting tired and I'm laughing. So
oh, jeez. Look, Shane's going to put it down on the tripod and save you all. What? The tripod is the thing, yes.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, yeah, you can do that and you can make it pan around. Why don't you get the engine bay? Because I'm about to actually sit the engine down onto its mounts. And thingy. What's the thingy? Yeah, I'm going to put the engine on the mounts and make sure it sits. Well, there's no reason it should not work because it's got like massive chunks of aluminium now that are holding it off the ground.
It's shaky now, there's a problem.
Yeah, the problem will be that Shane's shaking has become like telekinetic and it can go through the air and still shake the camera even when he's not holding it. I'd expect they probably are that bad. Oh, it's a glory. Oh. Something just went clonk. I think it was just the mount settling into the frame. Okay. She's all good. Keep going. What's the worst that can happen? All right. We'll unbolt the chain.
All right, people want to drink with me now. I'm good with that.
They want to drink with you.
Yeah, they think drinking will fix it, so...
They think they'll fix your shaking.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I've seen it. No, I've been drinking with Shane before. It doesn't do anything.
I don't want to discourage people, though.
From drinking?
Yeah, this sounds great.
Buying you drinks? Oh, because I'd have to buy them.
Well, no, maybe the first round, but, you know, I wouldn't go any more than that. I mean, it's not like I'm internet famous. So,
I'm going to give you guys a look at my butt as I go through.
I'm going to save you from that. That's terrible.
That's like I've been planning that for hours. What's going on here? Oh, I need a different size spanner.
So, we've had a comment asking how long and wide is the engine? Do you know?
The engine is fairly long and quite wide.
Those are pretty exact.
You know what? I've never, ever measured this engine because I'm like, well, it's about that much longer than the 2JZ and it fits. So that's about all I cared about. Look, I didn't even consider whether it fits or not before I stuck it in there. I'm putting a V12 in a Supra. It doesn't matter what doesn't fit. We're going to just deal with it until it does. That's the bottom line. It's going in. So yeah, I never actually bothered to pull out a tape measure or anything and do a single measurement on the dimensions of this. I've never weighed it either because none of it is really going to change how I do this or what I do. I'm going to stick it in there. I'm going to put it back as far as it goes. I'm going to put it as low as I can get it. And then we're going to, do some skids, I guess. There might be a few steps in between that I'm forgetting. This chain. All right. Now, I might actually have to... You're going to look at my butt now.
Oh, damn it.
I might need to get you, Shane, to help me carry this one off. Go my way because the prop's in the way. It means you've got to come around this way to grab it.
Yep.
Camera's going to see your butt now. There we go.
Sorry, guys.
Stop shaking.
Not a chance.
Hey, when you go pee, like, how do you like measure a certain number of shakes? Because it's just sort of like, do you just like grab it for like 2 seconds and go, that's about 3?
Let's just say I'm an artist.
You've practiced.
Oh, yes. At plenty of time.
Look, the engine is totally, it doesn't move. It is mounted.
So,
It's good because we spent like 4,000 episodes mounting the engine. You'd expect it to be mounted by now. But it's mounted. It's got a sump. I might lift it up and we'll have a look from underneath. Oh God, it's so good to get that bar out of the way.
it is.
It's been like in my face for months now.
So, you've had a comment. Is it getting a Nexus?
Is this car getting a Nexus? Just before I go into that, can you flick off a message about the Facebook stream quality? And in fact, Facebook seems to have stalled.
Oh, well, that's a bit.
Flick off a message to Jason. Nexus, right, I'm taking over. Hey, where's my face? Okay, Haltech Nexus. Let's get out of that light. So that ECU looks really cool. Obviously we're Haltech dealers at this shop. We're also dealers for Mtron and Link and all sorts. And I should promote these guys too. Forsch, it's backwards because the camera's backwards. So there we go. Forsch, these guys supply all our fasteners and stuff like that. And I want them to give me more. So hey, Forsch, give me more. The Haltech Nexus, I was talking to them about it because it's pretty capable. It can do like 24 injectors natively, so you could have 2 injectors per cylinder on an engine like this. Obviously that's tons for a V12. I think it had something like 12 or 16 ignition channels and whatever. It's got a PDM built in, the current version of it anyway. It's a really tempting ECU. Whether I run one of them or whether I run an Mtron, or something else, it's really going to come down to what my preference is at that time. We've still got an engine to build, we've still got turbo systems to do, we've still got all sorts of stuff, but the ECU is probably going to be the last thing. But when we do go to that, it's going to be sit down, decide an ECU, maybe speak to those ECU companies and go, oi, 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 what price are you going to give us? Oi. Yeah, and see what they do. But totally, like, if I got a Nexus for this, I'd be really happy. It's a good ECU. How's it going, Shane?
Well, YouTube video has stalled. Apparently the gimbal is very smooth now. I don't know what's changed, but it seems to be much better.
So you're saying the YouTube has stalled?
No, YouTube's fine. Facebook.
Oh, Facebook stalled.
But the gimbal is much better now. Something seems to have fixed it.
Oh, right, yeah. So we're gonna.
So the suggestion is that perhaps I should do the work and present the show, and you should be the cameraman. We're
Well,
obviously ill-suited.
Clearly, like, Facebook just could not deal with the shaking.
I broke Facebook.
You broke Facebook. All right, we're going to lift this car up and just have a look at, make sure I've still got the right sump clearance. Because we haven't tested these exact amounts. Go, 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 go. I've got to remember to not go too high with this hoist. It's a little bit iffy. The other cool thing is I've moved this car to the frontmost hoist in the workshop. It used to be way down there at the back of the shop in the lowest priority area. And half the time I couldn't even get down to it to work on it. But we've moved it right to the front of the shop, so you know it's a little bit easier for us to attack the car full time, or at least more. All right, that's as high as I'm willing to go. Oh, sorry about all the glaring lights there. So there's our sump. Oh no, the gimbal just went crazy. Sorry if you guys like just fell off your chairs trying to watch that video. Okay. Sump, I guess if I did the panning thing, it'd be smarter. There we go. Sump. I should probably put more bolts in that as well too, but I kind of just put the minimum to hold it in there. And there's our, if I get out of the light, there's the engine mount. I've only put like half of the bolts in the mounts as well because that's plenty to hold it in and stop things from falling apart. I'll just have to unbolt them again later, so you don't need all the bolts. Yeah, neat. Okay, clearance time, clearance. There we go. I'm going to give you back to old Shake-tastic.
Captain Shaky.
We could ask him to just try and shake less, but honestly, we've been there. It's not going to happen. But I might have to fire him as a cameraman for the next live stream. But the usual guy, Jethro, is busy tonight. Probably with a lady friend. Everything's in the same spot as it was on the plastic ones with the bar, because I was actually a little bit concerned about how much the rubber was going to compress with the weight of the engine, because we'd never tested the weight of this engine on the rubber mounts. But I know they're pretty stiff and they've proven to be so. Like the engine couldn't have dropped more than 1 millimeter coming down onto the rubber, so I'm pretty happy with that. Finally a job done. So now I can actually get on with recording the next episode, well, I've actually done almost most of the next episode, but the last bit, I really needed to get into the engine bay and do some nice work in there and get it all on camera, and there's this big blue bar in the way that was kind of stopping me from doing that. So now we can get that done and we can get a proper episode to you. So I think that's about it for now, especially given Facebook has kind of screwed itself up a little bit. Yeah. Any more questions that need answering there, Shane?
Do you plan to do a respray of the engine bay or the car?
The car, as you can see, the paint is already like pretty great. So I have actually resprayed the front bumper already because that had some stone chips and stuff, and someone had done some touch-ups on it. So the paint on the bumper is pristine. The rest of the car is so close to perfect, it's not funny. So I probably won't do the outside of the car because it's just totally unnecessary, but I might because it's got like one stone chip or something. But the engine bay, that's been on my mind a lot because half of me wants the car to look pretty original in that, original, just with a V12 and billet parts all over it. Kind of look normal with all the original heat shielding and stuff. But the other half of me just knows how much an engine with all this wonderful hardware pops when it's got glossy paint, like all around the bay. So I'd say at this point, 97% chance I'm going to pull everything out, I'm going to strip the bay completely, and we're going to do it in the same glossy red, that super red as the outside of the car. We'll make it all perfectly red in there as well, get it polished to a really nice finish, and then engine back in, and we'll probably do a lot of wire tucking and stuff, all the usual show car stuff to make it really focus on, boom, engine sitting in there, because in the end I think that looks the best.
Nice. Any more custom billet parts planned? Asks Chris.
Yes, Chris. We are planning on, obviously we've done the sump, we've done the engine mounts. I need to do billet covers for the cams. So whatever you want to call them, rocker covers, valve covers. I need to do custom ones of them, mostly because I want to have mounts for 12 coils and it only mounts 6 as factory with 6 leads. But also because the oil filler cap comes up really high and I kind of want to delete that and make it much lower. So billet covers are going on. The whole intake manifold design is going to have to be machined from CNC as well. So that's going to be billet, pretty much the entire intake manifold. It's the only way to do the design I want. We still need to do billet engine, oil pump bracket. What else? And a few, I think the rest is just knickknacks. Probably nothing else. There might be a few coolant housings and stuff like that we'll machine up as well, but that's about it, yeah.
Nice. Any plans for upgrading other parts like diff or brakes?
Yeah. If you watch our first live stream, it's a really good stream actually. I actually showed off some brakes I've bought upstairs. I've got some Grex, which are AP Racing 6-pot front brakes and 4-pot rear brakes with multi-piece rotors and stuff like that. They're sitting upstairs ready to put on the car. So yes, I've got brakes ordered. The diff is currently standard, and as soon as I put power through that, it's probably going to explode. I mean, they take maybe 800 to 1,000 horsepower before they die, but our plans are to start off at 1,000 horsepower and go from there. So I'm going to need to do a diff. My choices are a B series diff, which is the factory 9-ish inch, I think it's 8.8 inch diff that came in the Supras. They can take tons. But there is only one diff ratio available, and that's a 3.2, and that's really tall when you're running a Tremec transmission. So I'm not 100% keen on the B series diff, even though it bolts straight in. Another option is to do a Ford 9-inch conversion, but all of the Ford 9-inch kits I've seen out there, they're like solid mounted, or they just look kind of all sheet metal. I'm not a huge fan of any of them. There is another diff I'm looking at that's really modern. It's a nice cast aluminium casing. It's actually bigger and stronger than a Ford 9-inch. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but maybe I'll see if I can squeeze one of those things in there. Everything else, tail shaft and all that, that's all got to be upgraded as well. Axle's got to be upgraded. So yes, the whole driveline behind the engine, that's getting upgraded.
Interesting one from Jose. Are those two engine mounts good enough for the big engine?
We haven't really broken the factory Toyota engine mounts. They get old sometimes. But we've got cars that are pushing well over 1,000 horsepower doing drag launches with, drag radial tires, nitrous, all sorts of stuff. And those original Toyota mounts hold up. So until they start breaking, I'm not going to change them.
Good call. And last one, the real humble kid would like to know if you're planning on modifying the pistons and rods.
Yes. I couldn't even tell you which manufacturer we're using. We are definitely changing pistons to something really strong, rods to something that can take lots of revs. We'll have to, because the standard rods and pistons in this engine will probably shatter at about 500 wheel horsepower. So yeah, all that's going to change. Custom parts, there's very little off the shelf for these, so we'll have to design our own.
Nice. And comments about buying the parts and how much you'll sell them for. And a comment +1 for carbon tail shaft from Mason.
I hope so.
Carbon tail shaft.
I hope I can run a carbon one. There are sort of limits to how much we can spend on things building this car. I mean, it's easy to make a wish list that ends up adding up to like $200,000. So we got to keep things reasonable, but maybe. I'm not going to rule out carbon.
Sponsorship.
Yeah, someone that makes carbon tail shafts needs to sponsor me. But if it's not that, it's going to be chromoly, which is still cool. It's still fun material. Yeah. Cool. All right, well, we're going to wrap this up. So I reckon the next major episode is going to come out in about a week or so. So stay tuned, subscribe to the channel if you feel like it, and you'll get a notification about that coming. Otherwise, Facebook and Instagram and whatever, QUICKSHIFT.tv, WTF Auto as well, these guys. A lot of our cool builds get published on there. If you're just into fast JDM cars or Toyotas in general, good place to go and catch some cool stuff. And that's enough self-promotion. You guys have yourselves a good night, or if you're on the other side of the world, a good really, really, really early morning. And we'll catch you soon.